Heroes in a half shell, hateful geeks. Welcome back to the new installment of the Hateful Geeks. I'm one of your many hosts, Phil.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
And with us this week is a guest, Andy's pal, Keith. And I do believe this week we're going to be talking about Ninja Turtles.
Turtle power.
Really? Like, how old am I? Like, nobody got super fucking psyched about turtles?
I like turtles.
I got you.
I just
Turtles.
I just didn't laugh. I'm sorry.
Can you do the ninja rap though?
Oh, go Ninja, go.
Well,
Go.
I'll give
do
you a great
push-ups on
story
stage.
about that too later on too.
Sweet. So Keith, you're a huge Turtles fan, right?
Yes. I probably long story short, my daughter's got some health difficulties, so I've sold a lot of my collection. But I had probably one of the biggest turtle collections around. You name it, I had it. I grew up in New Hampshire, and that's where the Turtles actually started. Eastman and Laird doing their self-publishing gig, did a kind of a gag, if you will. The first issue was a spoof, wasn't meant to be what it ballooned into. So, but from the dawn of it all, I've been collecting, et cetera, and I've been a huge Turtles fan. I've got a few scattered things here we'll sit there and talk about, and I'll show you and whatnot. But yeah. To the point of almost ridiculousness, I had an entire room at one point which had nothing but turtle stuff.
That's not ridiculous. That's awesome.
I mean, like literally, I had I had to get a townhouse, and one of the rooms was like, "This is from my turtle stuff."
I think feels like every man in his life at some point wants to say, "This is my turtle room."
Right.
Like to have that ability, that's pretty fucking sick, man. I'm excited, Keith, because I'm a huge Turtles fan. I've been a Turtles fan since like the first days of Eastman and Laird. So I'm having somebody to be able to talk to like all the different incarnations the Turtles have been through in their illustrious career on this planet.
You can't see it right now, but he has a giant turtle boner.
Yeah, I could see it.
But I also want to say, for those who don't remember, we had Keith on many episodes ago. Went over his own comics, and he's back again. So we really do appreciate you coming back because I'm
glad to be
loved
back.
the first episode with you. So really highly excited to have you back and want to dive into the sewers.
Now let's start from the current aspect, and then we'll jump to the back. We'll do a round table here. What is your opinion of what is being force-fed to us turtle-wise currently?
So for me, currently, I think it's garbage. I don't understand the need for giant mutant turtles. I guess they are now. They were like always mutants, I guess. But
Are you
they're
talking
like
the movies?
Yeah,
Okay, stuff. Okay.
There are like 7 different turtle universes going on simultaneously right now. You be specific.
So sorry,
please.
the Michael Bay.
The Michael Bay.
The Michael Bay crap. So I don't mind how they look. I could give a shit about that. I don't care. I gave them lips. That's fine. They talk. Whatever. Don't care about it. But it's like you made them these giant. They're supposed to be ninjas, right? That was the whole premise.
They're bulletproof ninjas.
They're giant bulletproof.
Yeah, they're the size of a Buick.
You're
You don't need to be a
hit a
ninja
Hummer.
if you're the size of a Buick.
They would hit a Hummer and they
So why do you
destroyed
need to
the
be a
Hummer.
ninja?
Right.
Didn't one of them like ass punch a tank and live?
Well, he like got thrown into a Hummer a shell first. And it just completely like destroyed the Hummer. Like flipped.
It was like a
it.
cannonball
Yeah.
hitting it like point blank range.
Like for me, like Turtles were like now I mean, not even the show. The first original movie is like 1 and 2. Like here, what was the first one?
Just Ninja Turtles
Just Ninja
and
Turtles.
then Secret
Yeah.
of the
The
Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze was 2.
Yeah.
It's called 89 Turtles to
Okay.
try to differentiate.
So those are my childhood. Like that's what I grew up with. Like I didn't have a lot of. I mean, I had the cartoon obviously, but that's what I loved. I liked those movies. I thought they were fun. I made the Turtles fun. They didn't have to be gigantic. They weren't bulletproof. They actually were somewhat vulnerable to the actual foot. And this seemed like the movies now seem like it's like these impenetrable giant mutant turtles that can just like run havoc, kind of like X-Men.
Donatello, like as a nerd, and the way Donatello is portrayed in the Michael Bay movies is borderline racist. I'm just saying, like not all nerds have like glasses. Like it's nerd racist, whatever it is to be racist.
It's not
against
racist, but okay.
It's a species. It's speciesist. Like we don't all wear fucking thick glasses that are taped in the middle with a bunch of like metal gadgets on us, and like I know computers just by being a nerd.
These two.
So that's what I don't like about the
my
Michael Bay
team.
movies also. Like, I don't mind how they look. I didn't even care too much that they were giant. I thought it was a little absurd. I hate all the shit that they put on them, like bamboo vest and just just shit on them. And you can, and you
Surfer
know, it was
shorts.
like, yeah,
Michelangelo wears like fucking surfing shorts.
Oh, that's fine. It's Michelangelo. I
and
would
you're like,
believe
the
that.
only reason you did that was to
character has surfer
differentiate
shorts.
to make new toys. That's why you did
But
it.
I don't have a lot of exposure to the new comics. Like I don't really.
What about the old ones?
I had the exposure to the black and white comics back in the day, a little bit, not much. Just kind of like the dive into it when I was a kid, but that's about it. Like I like those. I like how they were a little more violent. They were a lot more edgy, I thought, than the kind of the kid friendly cartoons of my early childhood.
We strike hard and fade away into the night.
Yeah, I don't accept and or acknowledge any of the Michael Bay stuff at all. I hit a shut off point.
Yeah.
With me in the Turtles, it was one of those things where quite literally the spirit of what the characters were all about just kind of got lost. Yeah, they looked like the Turtles, but they weren't the Turtles. They had no.
Right.
They were giants, and there was, the whole aspect of them being ninjas got lost and everything else. It wasn't something I just, whatever. I just kind of distanced myself from it. And even like the new cartoons that have happened over the past couple of years to the current incarnation that's kind of happening now. I don't know, call me a jaded purist or whatnot. But again, it's one of those things where I understand you want to update things and modernize it and kind of bring it up to speed with how things are now. But again, it just doesn't really interest me, sadly. So the more I see it, the more I'm just like, it's like another big sigh and another big sigh and another big sigh. So it's almost like after the Fox Kids 90s era Turtles, I think that was literally the last big hurrah for me when it came to a mainstream version of the Turtles on anything. After that,
That was a dark time for the
Yeah,
Turtles.
are you talking the cartoon or the one with Venus de Milo?
No. Fox Kids, like mid to late '90s, the cartoon.
Oh, the
cartoon.
one. Okay, the
No,
one. Okay.
I'm talking Venus.
It took me a second to remember
Yeah.
that iteration.
That was also a dark time for the Turtles.
Oh.
Venus de Milo. That was a
Yeah.
sharp jump, I do believe, for
Very
Turtles.
because they were trying
Oh.
to cash in on Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And it was live action too in like
Yeah.
the '89, and like Secrets of the Ooze just came out, and they were really popular.
Well, Paul Jenkins did a signing. He works for Aftershock Comics, did tons of stuff for Marvel Comics for years and years, but he also worked for Mirage back in the day. And we had him at World's Greatest Comics, and we were talking about Turtle stuff. And what I found very interesting is he handled a lot of the marketing and developmental stuff, and he was involved with all of the stuff that was happening as the Turtles exploded. So like The Secret of the Ooze, that movie, literally they vetoed everything. And from what he was telling me, the reason why that movie happened, they did not agree. Like Eastman, Laird, Jenkins, all the people involved in Mirage Studios, they kept vetoing it. Well, the problem is that they were like, okay, fine, you don't agree with it, screw you, we're still going to do it, which means they still are going to do it if you want to fight us on it. From what Mr. Jenkins explained, it was you can fight us on it. It's going to cost you all this time and all this money in regards to legalities, and the film's still not going to get made. You're going to lose even more money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that entire movie was against their wishes. And they always talk about how that movie literally, came very close to tanking the entire Turtles franchise at the time. And but it was all against their wishes. They had no desire for that movie to be what it was, what it became. Everything from the whole Vanilla Ice nonsense on down the line.
On down to Kevin Nash's Super Shredder.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you say that Eastman and Laird were acting like baby? They're baby.
God.
See, now I feel bad because I was a kid and I love that movie. Because
Yeah, no,
now better. I
yeah.
was like, oh, this is fun.
Actually, I still love that movie.
Oh yeah, because like, yeah, exactly. Babies. Like, I mean,
Stop me, turtle.
I have the original 3 Ninja Turtle movies on DVD or on Blu-ray.
the third
Yeah.
one you can just
Ninja
kinda,
Turtles 3 was like a fuck you to fans of the comic.
it's
It was like,
yeah.
we're going
I
to
mean,
introduce the
it-
time lamp. but we're not gonna do shit with it.
I mean, the only reason I have it is because it was in like a 3 DVD.
Three
like,
pack. Yeah, I was gonna say it's part of a 3-pack.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I have the original trilogy and the prequels of Star Wars. 'Cause
Oh,
they all
yeah.
came together.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But it was very eye opening because he also talked about how he handed the phone and said, "Okay, here, talk to Burger King, and we're going to be working on toys and stuff." And here's Jenkins is like, "Okay," and we're talking about toys for a Happy Meal or whatever you want to call the kids meals that Burger King had, and they were throwing out numbers, and he's like, I was thinking about 2 or 3, and I guess Paul's response was like 2 or 3 figures. Like I thought there were going to be like 6 figures in the line, and they're like, no, like 2 or 3 million. Like all of a sudden it's like what?
What?
It was a very strange set of circumstances for a bunch of guys who, it was a slow burn. You had this indie comic, and it did well, and it did a little better, and it kept getting built upon itself, and then somebody came to them with some ideas about some other marketing ideas for toys, and maybe we'll do a cartoon, and it was something that they weren't really even thinking that it was going to become the ridiculousness it was. Paul's the best story Paul told us is that when they had the premiere for the first Turtles movie, it was in Europe, and Paul Jenkins, he's a Brit. And so he goes back home, and he's all excited. And I guess all the Turtle guys are walking the red carpet. And he said he's got all these guys have got store-bought, Busmic women with them and tight dresses because they're all like dorks, but they're like, hey, look at me, they're walking down. So Paul decides he's gonna bring his nan. So he brings his elderly grandmother, and she gets out, and I guess I can't even do it justice without the real accent, but I guess she's getting out, and she's like, oh, hello, just walking down the red carpet, people snapping pictures and whatnot. And it's just this amazing, crazy thing. And then I guess at the after party, Freddie Mercury was there, and he was all enamored by his nan and was like, your nan she's amazing. And then the rest of Queen were there, and Elton John and all these people, and they all just thought, I guess, Paul Jenkins' nan was just the most amazing woman, and she was just fabulous. Until I guess one of the guys came up to him and said, next time I do one of these, I'm gonna bring me mom. So it was kind of funny just talking to him, because I was a 14, 15-year-old kid in New Hampshire, watching these guys sitting at a table, and perfect example is this is a promo poster that they signed for me back in the day. So that was when they teamed up with Cerebus. And what's funny is also a picture Dave Sim did of Matisse, the unknown turtle. He drew a picture of that and signed it for me and whatnot. But, it's just like a crazy little flyer thing, like, hey, I'll sign this for you, I'll sign that for you. And they're like all the other regular comic book guys, and then next thing you know, they're gajillionaires and good, selling toys and this and everything else. And it went from a crazy little joke into a big, huge industry,
How much do you think that they're worth? Ballpark figure. How much do you think the Ninja Turtles rights cost right now?
Well, see, that's the thing. They sold Kevin Eastman sold his controlling shares to Peter Laird years ago, and he used that money to buy Heavy Metal magazine. So Kevin Eastman, he controls and publishes Heavy Metal magazine. And Kevin currently is the writer and of the IDW published Ninja Turtle comics, the current incarnation that's been happening for some time now.
It is so good.
Yeah, it is very good. Peter, who had the rights for years, when he sold the rights to Nickelodeon, part of the contractual agreement was that he could continue to do TMNT, which is basically Ninja Turtles Volume 4. He could continue that storyline and still publish that at his leisure, which he does from time to time. He puts out a book. The book is crazy because the characters are all in different directions and it's in the middle of a huge storyline and it's been kind of hanging there for years, but he can finish it if he chooses. But Lord knows what he sold, because when he sold it off to Nickelodeon, it was lock, stock, and barrel. That was they have it. That is it. I don't even know, technically speaking, if what their royalty deal is or what they might still get out of it as creators or what. But, you figure for them to sign everything off to Nickelodeon, you're talking millions and millions easily.
He sold the Star Wars franchise. Maybe not quite the Star Wars franchise, but he sold
it was up there.
Is there any, real talk, has anyone in that room ever met anyone who hadn't heard of the Ninja Turtles?
No, everybody.
Yeah, everybody has.
It's a household name.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. This is a franchise that has spoken to young men. I guess probably some young women, but this is bro. Like the Ninja Turtles are bros. It's about family. It's about striking from the shadows. It's about like turmoil and growing up and fucking throwing guys off of rooftops. It's a great fucking story.
Which makes me curious. Like, so you say it was started on a joke, right? It was kind of like a throwaway, like an idea. Did you ever get that story? Like, what started it with them?
Well, I mean, it's been told a bunch of times in interviews and everything else. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. In Dover, New Hampshire, Pete had a place with a lady who would eventually become his wife. Kevin was renting a room from him. It was called Mirage Studios because it was a joke. The in-joke was it was a mirage. They each had 2 art tables, I guess, next to each other, and they were, drawing stuff and working in the indie comics thing. They had their own, day jobs or whatever, but it was everything that was, big in comics at the time. The Teen Titans, Frank Miller's Daredevil run, the X-Men, so your teenage, your mutants, your ninjas, your turtles. It was a quick sketch gag of a Ninja Turtle that, it's like, hey, check this out, and then they thought it was funny and did it and whatever. But even the first issue, it wasn't really meant to be a series. It was like hell, they killed Shredder at the end, supposedly. The radioactive isotope that turned them into the Turtles was clearly the Daredevil, origin. And you can see where they took all that kind of stuff, but it was just all a gag.
That's awesome.
It was the foot instead of the hand.
It was the foot instead of the hand. Exactly.
I kind of want to make a joke and make billions off of it.
Nice.
It's funny enough, you might make like a couple bucks.
I think I remember maybe like 5 or 6 years ago reading that original sketch that you mentioned was like on auction and sold for like $100,000.
Oh yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You can sell classical art for $100,000.
Right. Yeah.
Well, poor
relevant.
Kevin's been through, I believe, 3 divorces. So I'm willing to bet a lot. As somebody who's gone through 2 divorces himself,
that's no bueno.
it's kind of a understanding that there's probably a bunch of stuff that's kind of gone out that way,
Right.
etc.
Absolutely.
But
Real talk. Everybody has a spirit turtle. Who's your spirit turtle, Keith?
Leonardo. Leonardo's.
Oh.
I've always been a Leo fan.
Don't fucking nod, Andy. Sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. I'm trying to interrupt you.
And in fact, here's my original Leo on
Still
the card.
carded,
So,
unpunched.
I'm almost positive like I have that, or I had that toy as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
sure.
I know I had that.
That's
Yeah,
where
my-
my
all
love
of
for the
these.
Turtles started. I didn't read the comics. I started with like the 89, 90, like the Ninja Turtle cartoon.
Yeah.
My mom's
83 was the cartoon.
was it that early?
No, it wasn't that
No,
early.
it
No,
was
it wasn't that
84?
early.
Late
87.
80s.
84 is when the Turtles started. The
Yeah.
cartoon itself
like
is
80
I want to say 87 or 88.
87, 88. If I
Yeah.
remember right, yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
I
88,
started
yeah.
watching that, and my mom's best friend at the time, she worked at a local mall in JCPenney, and she worked in the young men's department. And I go in one day, and they have a big, giant cardboard standee of all 4 turtles with like the sewer lid up, and they're all posing. It says TMNT. They had it in their clothing area to advertised that. And I just stood there the entire time while my mom went and did her shopping. I was just in awe. And a week, 2 weeks later, her friend comes over and brings the standee in for me. And to this day, I regret what I did as a child. I was probably around 6th grade at that time, and I got my first BB gun, and I
Jesus
lit
Christ.
that thing up.
I kind of
In my bedroom.
Strike him.
I know.
I have no respect for you.
I was gonna say.
You know what? No, that
Yeah.
actually sums up Andy pretty
Yeah, I know.
perfectly now that I think about
You're
it.
a
I'm
real
cool with this.
bastard.
So that's your spirit animal.
You're a real bastard.
Yeah.
I have this really awesome thing, but fuck it, shoot
I
it.
used to
I
have-
wish I wish I had it.
I used to have the you remember those little air guns? Not like the air guns now, but like they shot the discs with
Yeah.
the foam discs or whatever. I had like the pizza shooter, so I'd like always like line up like GI
Yeah.
Joes and like shoot out with the pizza shooter.
Did you have the pizza shooter gun, or did you have like the
So I had
the
the
vehicle that
vehicle
shot?
them as well. And I
Yeah.
also had the disc shooter, like
Yeah.
actually shot hard disc was for
Yeah.
a child. It's like why would you give your child this?
Yeah, no, those hurt actually because they were
Right.
plastic,
Like a
pizzas. Yeah, because I used to
The
aim them at
pizza
my
shooter has
roommate's
special
cat.
memories for me, Sweeney.
Yeah.
So when I was a child, I had a really bad flu. I had like 104 temperature. I was like on my way to like Splitsville, and my mom had me like bedridden for like a week and a half. And when I started feeling better, she got me the Ninja Turtle pizza shooter vehicle.
Nice.
It is one of the most fun childhood toys I think any of us could have possibly
absolutely.
had.
Yeah.
And it annoyed the shit out of our family because they left the pizzas all over the floor.
Yeah. My mom like,
Right.
where did all these discs come from? Like it's mine.
So you're Leonardo. That's pretty cool. Leader of the pack. You know, rat's pet, if you will. Like, you know, he's definitely daddy's boy, right, Andy?
Leo, I liked Leo more. I liked katanas. I was like, he gets to
Yeah, his
have
weapon.
not just one; he gets 2 fucking katanas. Like other dude gets a wooden stick, another one gets little wooden sticks on chains,
Hey.
another guy gets a pokey little metal pokey thing.
Fuck you. The side is both a
Side.
defensive
Yeah.
and an amazing offensive
Size are
weapon.
the actual counter to katana.
I know.
Yes, sir.
But as a kid, like looking at them,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like 2 swords.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
for me, as Michelangelo, namesake, Michelangelo, I was like, yeah, and he's goofy. I love that. I know, like he was goofy as shit, but still kicked ass. Like it was like he didn't take himself too seriously. Everyone kind of picked on him, but he was just like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Sweeney's totally a Mikey. Yes, 100% Mikey. Tim, you're a Splinter.
As a kid, I was definitely Michelangelo, but as I grow older and more cynical, I'm definitely Raphael now. Now that I think about it.
No, sir. You couldn't. Okay. I got into an argument with my wife about how Ninja Turtles is the. Okay, so Sex in the City is Ninja Turtles for girls. So in every group of friends, there's 4 people typically. It's a fairly even number. 3 is a crowd and 4 is just a party. But in
April's
every
Mr.
group of
Big.
4
Right.
people of
Right, yeah.
friends, there's always one person who fits every behavioral archetype of the Ninja Turtles.
Someone's always a Miranda or a Charlotte or a.
Carrie,
I don't know.
guess,
Yeah, I
or
don't know the
whatever.
other. I don't know the other
Sure.
two. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the other 2.
But yeah, like a group of 4
Kind of
and a
proud
group
that
of
you
guys is the
don't.
same thing. Everybody's a turtle. It is what it is. Andy gets to be Leo. Tim, you strike me as a Donnie, bro.
I mean, probably, yeah.
You're a Donnie, bro.
I'm a Johnny, bro.
He's definitely a Mikey because he likes to get his fucking party on. But I'm the one with a temper. I'm Raph. You don't get to be Raph. You're Donnie.
No, I don't mean like
I
I
don't
don't mean.
has temper too. So it's
Yeah, I
kind of
do
like
get
an
it. I
even-
do get a temper. Like I had to stop myself from calling someone stupid in an email at work today.
I just had to go buy another PlayStation controller.
But no, I meant Raphael
Everyone's
more
got-
like the cynical part, not like the anger part.
Yeah, he's
So you're
always-
talking 88 Raph more than Mirage Raph.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I
Yeah.
aspire to be a Leonardo, but I guess in my heart, I'm pretty much a Casey Jones.
Right.
That's awesome.
I want to think like I'm listening to my father, and I'm learning and becoming smarter and wiser, and I'm able to lead and direct all these people who are with me in this common goal, et cetera, et cetera. But in reality, all I really want to do is drink Paps and run around and hit things.
Back somebody with a baseball
I'm
bat or a hockey
thinking-
stick.
Drink
Yeah,
Paps,
so
drink
I'm-
Paps and play street hockey.
Yeah, with people's heads.
Yeah.
Then I was a crying, you scum sucking pukes.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a penalty.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I love Casey
Sadly,
Jones,
that's
though.
where I'm at.
He He's probably one of the most fun characters, I would say. Just
I think Casey's more relatable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he's a human. So
Right.
He's that too.
So Keith, you said you kind of stopped like show wise around like Fox Kids era, like of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean, in accordance to cartoons and movies and all that kind of stuff, I was done. I was, getting the comics, the IDW stuff when Kevin Eastman relaunched it, which I really liked. If anyone isn't following the current Turtle stuff, I do find it kind of funny that at the comic shop at World's Greatest, the Turtles are a mature comic. They are listed as mature, so they are like there's a mature section that we have, kind of keeping tabs on things. So like kids technically can't read the Turtles, so they can, but it's not something we recommend because the violence is there and everything else. It's how it's written. I did like when they reintroduced the Turtles and relaunched the Turtles, Kevin Eastman's idea of utilizing mysticism and stating that the Turtles were the reincarnation. They were really brothers. They were reincarnated, and Splinter really was their father, and it was all an aspect of that. Somebody who dabbles in Buddhism, I found it very interesting, and how they've gone with the series, and now they're way up there. It's been going on for years and years and years. It's become one of those things where you say to yourself, all right, here's this guy who created this thing, co-created it, and he gets brought back into the fold, and he was able to do something a little out of the norm. It wasn't just a rehash. And, it's definitely, if somebody likes the Turtles and wants to read the current stuff, it's worth getting the trades. If you try and find the back issues, they can get a little pricey here and there, like anything else. But I highly recommend them. But I can't handle any of the big mainstream movie stuff. I'm not a fan of the computer-generated cartoons that have happened recently. They kind of bug me, give me kind of a headache. So it's kind of sad, but like that was literally I think the last thing I watched was they did that Turtles movie, which was literally it was like every incarnation of the Turtles was in it.
Oh yeah, I remember. But yeah,
and I think that's probably the last thing I watched.
It's called Turtles Forever.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, everything else.
the four brothers reincarnated is much more believable than a rat mimicking his master.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool concept because they start off as just animals, but they all have like that spiritual bond.
Right.
And Keith's right, the mysticism and like it keeps them more grounded in like ninjutsu and like the current place where like Splinter is and where the Turtles are and their development of the comic right now is incredibly unique. It's like a story I don't think they've actually kind of told before. Granted, I mean, there's still Triceratons, so what are you going to do? Turtles, I don't know. I don't think Secret of the Ooze was that bad, guys. I'm sorry. Controversial
I love
statement.
Secret Reviews.
I feel bad for liking it now, but I still like it.
I still have the VHS copy of
Well,
it from as a kid.
think of it from this perspective too. Is that the first movie, which it still holds up. It's dated, but it still holds up. It is a very pure representation of the Turtles' origin and everything else. So when the second one came around, I think they were very adamant that they didn't mind necessarily that there was going to be a kids aspect of it, but they didn't want it to be a joke. And I think because a lot of people who are younger, who grew up with it, they didn't see it as a joke. It was entertaining and funny and everything else. But Eastman and Laird were sitting on there going, no, this isn't what we had envisioned. So it's kind of a give or take. I talk to a lot of people who, like you guys, have fond memories of it and everything else. Jenkins told me horror stories about Vanilla Ice's tenure on the set. I guess when he was on his way there, everybody, all the interns and girls and everybody was like, oh, Vanilla Ice, oh my God, oh, sweet, this is so neat, oh my God. And then he was a colossal jackass.
I can see that.
I guess he was like, driving around in like the golf cart thing and driving it into stuff and messing up stuff and, being a prima donna, and he would miss his marks, and he was eating up tons of time, and he was just he treated people like garbage. And, by the end of it, everybody was like, please get this motherfucker out of here.
I mean, Vanilla Ice at the height of his asshole.
Yeah,
In
Yeah.
1991, 2?
Yeah.
1991.
Thanks, old man Rosetta.
I heard that his Vanilla Ice's bodyguards got into a fight with the guys in the turtle costumes.
I believe it. Paul didn't tell me that, but I could see that happening. But from what he said, because he was telling me, regaling us with stories, and just, by the end of it, they just wanted that guy to be gone. Like, oh my
Right.
God, what the hell is
I mean,
this?
I mean, to be fair, I think in 1992, everyone wanted Vanilla Ice.
But go Ninja, go.
Yeah.
Oh, I still play at the bar. I don't care.
I mean, my copy, I had the VHS copy. when
yeah,
was a kid,
I still
obviously.
do.
I played this VHS so much that the plastic cover for like where the actual film was broke
Right.
off. So it still worked. I had to like finagle it in and like
Right.
make sure it didn't get caught on anything. Like I watched that thing out. Like
I still have all 3 Ninja Turtle movies on VHS. I even have, for whatever reason, in the 90s when pop culture stuff went on like concert tour, there was the Ninja Turtles coming out of their shells
shell,
tour.
yes.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I still have the VHS of that. Like, I was a huge Ninja Turtles kid. Like, I had a bedspread of Ninja Turtles. I had all the toys. Now I have the whole DVD collection of the cartoon. I had the arcade game. I had the Nintendo port of it.
did you have I had like the sewer tower. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like it had like the level, like the street level, then it had like their layer.
You still
yeah,
play
it was
that?
the
Yeah,
sewer
I
base.
still actually have.
I didn't have the
Technodrome.
I didn't have the sewer play set. But I did have the car, and I did have the Technodrome.
Me and
We're
my,
secret Ninja Turtle bros, man.
Yeah, me and
I
my-
never knew.
Oh yeah, like I mean I just grew out of, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I just like grew out of it after a period of time where like I like it and I appreciate it, but I'm not super big on it as I was as a kid.
I mean, me and my stepbrother were so engulfed in Ninja Turtles that our grandmother at the time made us custom made full suit turtle suits. Like they had the big heads and everything.
Yep.
Like she made this by hand. We wore them around the house all the damn time over Halloween. Like it was like the best thing ever.
I remember, and because I remember seeing photos of it like a couple years ago, but I had Michelangelo like when I was 3 years old, just like pajama outfit.
Oh yeah.
Michael, yeah, like
I mean, I had the one with Batman that had the actual cape.
yeah. I mean, I
The
probably,
pajamas had
I think
the-
I had Superman.
Had the Superman one with the
Yeah.
Velcro
Yeah.
cape.
But yeah, it had like the tie with like an M on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else I had. Turtles
Everything.
in Time on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Was it Manhattan Mayhem for the Game Boy?
Yeah, the first Turtles game was the NES one where when you remember
Yeah.
the bomb level underwater.
Yeah,
That's why I had that one.
I love and hate that game.
Then the arcade port came out, where the arcade where you had all four
Yep.
spots.
Yeah, 'cause it
Each
was-
one was where you played your turtle.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was technically like Turtles 2, the arcade game. And I remember just as a kid, just so we could all play it just for fun, we'd always put the game Genie Infinite Lives just for fun and just play through it.
I mean, have you guys ever bumped into 16-bit or
Oh, yeah.
level one?
Level 1, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you can hit up the Ninja Turtle arcade game right
Yeah,
there. And
they have-
hit your infinite lives and actually beat
Yeah,
it for once.
right
Yeah.
now I think Level 1 has Turtles in Time in instead
think
of the original
The
arcade.
last time we were there,
Yeah.
actually, we played.
We had
Yeah.
we just played through Turtles in
Yeah,
Time.
we beat it.
yeah. And my thumb hurt for like the next 2 days.
Where you fight Toka and Razar on a pirate ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Crazy shit, man. Ninja Turtles and video games have had like a love-hate relationship through the years. There have been some stinkers too. But I think the last good one I played was Out of the Shadows, which was like a DLC for PS3.
I think I played that, and I think I actually bought that because there was like a code for it that you could play Turtles, the arcade game on it. I might have the wrong game though.
I
That's
don't
the case. I need to go get my PS3.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, I can play Turtles on the PS3.
Yep.
I'm gonna buy this game because I think you had to play it and like beat it through like all 3 or 4 difficulties to unlock it.
I mean, it was a fun game. I mean, you leveled up your turtle. I mean, we're getting off topic for those.
Really, we're talking about turtles.
It's all
like-
turtles.
like Keith's right. Like a lot of the Nickelodeon shit that's currently like the CG turtles, like that's kind of like the mainstream turtle cartoon right now.
Yeah.
It's like
Is it the-
focused on at least.
Yeah.
It's getting a new incarnation, which Andy's mentioned
I was going to
before.
say, like, I think that one's ending with and a new one's coming out.
Yeah.
So
And the-
the Nickelodeon one, I liked it. I think I liked it more because my son was watching it, and it's been out for a few years now, right? I think he's 12 now. He was probably 8-ish.
yeah, I mean, I think it's run like 4 or
And
5
he was
seasons.
loving it, and he wanted the toys, and I was like, yes. So I went out and I bought him every single toy that I could for Christmas, and I sat there and watched him, and I was like, I did that. I did that. I opened that.
And then you're like, no, don't open that. Stop it.
And
Open it out.
One just in case. It's like-
yeah, so I like that. Whatever they're making now, I've only seen the character designs of it, and I'm
That's
like,
all anyone's seen.
nope.
Yeah, it's
Nope.
I mean,
So what do they
because
do?
I think each turtle's a different species of turtle, right?
Raphael looks like a Buick. Like he looks like the Incredible Hulk with
Right.
a giant, instead of the eye covering bandana, it's like the do rag that comes down
Yeah.
over his eyes.
It's like fucking Michael Bay's turtles, like unconsensually
Yeah.
had sex with Samurai Jack. This was like the demonic hybrid spawn that it produced.
And Ralph is the leader.
the dog.
Raph is the leader instead of Leonardo, I think. And then they're not doing Shredder, and it's a new villain voiced by John Cena. I think.
Yeah, I saw the John Cena bit, and I just was like,
So
cool.
Go back
turtles
to-
had like
Go back to auditioning for Blue's Clues, John Cena.
Yeah.
Which actually,
Turtles had-
I'd watch that.
so like Andy said, the Nickelodeon cartoon that's out right now actually isn't that shitty.
And it's got a good voice cast because like Jason Biggs, Sean
Astin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy's favorite person ever. Fucking goddamn it, the guy from Robot Chicken,
Seth Green.
Seth Green. Thank you.
Seth Green.
Seth
One of
Green.
these turtles is Corey Feldman.
Yep. Which turtle is it, Sweeney?
Reaganomics.
so wrong.
It makes me want to watch Turtles forever again.
That's right. We said about chicken. They did that scene.
Yeah,
Robot
we did this
Chicken.
Reaganomics. Fuck. And I think that was Corey Feldman.
It was.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman does the voice for Slash in the current Nickelodeon comic cartoon.
Slash.
Yeah,
Really?
Slash. He was Raphael's
Really?
pet snapping turtle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
And he's got a black headband
Yeah.
and an S on his belt.
It's kind of weird that a
Because
turtle
you
has
wouldn't
a pet
know
turtle.
otherwise. He's also
Can
fucking
we have pet
huge.
humans?
It's like me having like a that's
You got like
slavery.
a spiked shell and crazy spiked gauntlets and the whole 9 yards.
Wasn't there
and stuff.
Spike already?
He's got
It's
a
just-
mace and shit.
So Slash is just Snowball from Rick and Morty.
Not far off.
God damn.
Hearing him and Sean Astin like throwback like shit that was kind of cool, like listening to the show. But this is a little bit more true to like the Mirage Turtles in some aspects, but it's like pulling back from '88 Turtles. It's not quite corny and out there, and there's like a family dichotomy, and they explore that, especially like Leo and Splinter's relationship. So I mean, it's actually a pretty like I think a valuable part of the Turtles mythos. But what's on the horizon right now is like it's like watching a fucking meteor like come at us and we can't get out of the way. It looks
Oh, you can't. You just don't watch it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just
You're gonna
sidestepping.
have
it.
to.
Like,
like,
I gotta
and
pay
then
attention.
is April O'Neil in it?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Speaking of
April has
April
psychic
O'Neil,
powers.
did anybody see the back in the day when the Turtles were on Oprah?
Yes. Only because I saw someone post it and I was like, this didn't happen.
If you
and it
want to
did.
watch something so uncomfortable, I watched it when it first aired.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
see, I did.
and this is during the horrible Venus era too, mind you. And so the Turtles were on Oprah. And as the Turtles, and with the April O'Neil actress and the whole 9 yards, and if you really want to destroy your childhood, and you really want to feel really uncomfortable, watch it. It is How do you describe just how mind-blowingly uncomfortable it is? I think
Is it more uncomfortable than
Oprah's
the
trying to
Seinfeld
carry
episode
on
where
like a
they're stuck in the
legitimate
garage
dialogue
for their
with
car?
What's that?
I said, is it more uncomfortable than the episode of Seinfeld where they're stuck in a car garage and they can't find their car for the entire episode?
That episode's hysterical.
Yeah.
That episode gives me anxiety.
Oh,
Now,
God, I
this
love
is
that episode.
trust
It's
me. You
Always
watch.
Sunny gives you anxiety, and that's like the funniest show ever.
It does. Those people
This
belong
will
in
give you
prison.
anxiety.
It will give you anxiety because it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, like Keith said, like she's trying to carry on the segment, and whoever the actors are just like not really happy.
They're going off script.
go off
and-
Are they
Script.
in Turtle
Oh,
suits?
yes.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
if it was like
It is
animation,
legit, it is
blue
legit
screen.
the April O'Neil actress, and then
from the first movie.
I can't remember. but
Well,
think
like I said, it was around the Venus de Milo
The Venus-
nonsense
yeah.
era. So
And-
whoever the actress was at the time, but
and then just they come out like in character.
yeah, all totally in character. And she's trying to interview him, and they're saying all these things and going off script, and then Oprah makes the very, very wrong kind of dialogue direction of amorous intentions towards April, and then them saying how she could hold her breath a really long time. And there's some innuendo stuff in there, and they keep cutting to kids who are just like mortified and parents who are mortified. It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's
because about
serious.
about a year ago, someone told me about this, and I had no idea it existed. I'm just like, this isn't true. And I watched it, and I'm just like,
This didn't happen.
yeah, just like, bestiality on Oprah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's
This sounds amazing.
yeah. And I remember watching because I was, being such the turtle dork. I was like, the turtles are gonna be on Oprah. This is ridiculous. I've got to see this. And I was just staring in disbelief, like,
It's so bad.
what the hell is going on?
And like,
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
it's
Yeah.
one, and like even
Yeah,
Oprah,
definitely, but-
even Oprah looks like visibly.
Yeah, she's.
Please don't search turtle bestiality with Oprah. Like
No,
that,
no, no.
Yeah.
Just, I think if you just do TMNT Oprah, you're gonna be good in that Google
Yeah,
search bar.
that's a. I mean, even like he said on YouTube, like just put TMNT Oprah, and it'll be the first thing that comes
Yeah.
up. Probably the second thing will be coming out of their
Yeah,
shell
look out. If
store.
it comes up as Teenage Mutant Nympho Turtles, don't watch that. I'm going to say, no.
I made that mistake.
Yeah, you'll be.
Andy, what you googling?
He's like,
Andy?
what's this? What is this? What is this you speak of?
Andy's got his dick out already.
Jesus, it's worth a Google. Gross.
You had me at Nympho.
That was the third word. You should pay attention to the first two.
Yeah, if you put in TMNT Oprah, it is the first thing that comes up.
There you go. Yeah. And she has very, very distraught look on her face when the picture. Oh my God, that is a great caption. Like, that doesn't tell you. Just like, oh
She's
no.
And yeah, there's a long version, there's a short
Yeah.
There's a
version.
long version.
And it is it's coming out of their shells tour. They're on there promoting the coming out of their shells tour.
Perfect.
They're coming all right.
Because they
Oh,
are
God.
because they are in their like rock outfits with like the jean jackets.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
oh,
So,
I'm gonna watch this after we're done recording.
I might watch it while we're recording. You guys just have a conversation.
Oh, jeez. Everything on the internet ruins childhoods.
Oh wait,
This was before the internet.
is that why it got awkward? Did they say
Yeah,
did they- that's right.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't
They
really
say
want to
that.
say that on this. I just leave it at that. 'cause
Oh, you could
Is
it's-
it a
say-
spoiler?
No.
Oh yeah, we fucking cursed all the time.
No.
We can't say-
No.
They say on Oprah they say the N word.
No.
It's
No.
The turtles did?
Yeah,
No.
that's the big.
Come on.
Yeah.
one of the things that slipped in there.
Why?
Ruiners.
Why?
Watch it. It's crazy.
Can we
Like,
edit
why
that out
does-
of the episode?
Yeah.
No. Why?
But we didn't say anything.
That's what I was
No,
trying to
it's
say.
Phil's always paranoid. Like, we gotta
Jesus.
stop.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. It's just fucking turtles. Like now, I feel like the last hour is now a lie.
My childhood's ruined forever.
Now,
Well, spoiler warning. We can take it out. I
yeah,
didn't
there you
say
go.
the word.
Yeah, you can just say that.
No, I don't care. I'm just fucking with you.
Stop,
Tim, calm down.
stop talking about taking out the episode, damn it.
Let them find out themselves. That way, it's
That's true.
man.
Let them find out for themselves the rabbit holes that they're down.
You want to go down that rabbit hole? You go right ahead, Alice. There you go.
Poor
Good
Oprah.
luck.
Poor Oprah.
Poor Oprah. Having to deal with those rascal turtles and their terrible
she's a
Poor
worldviews.
He's all in his Turtles PJs,
Right.
watching the show off site,
See what's going on?
crying. He wasn't allowed to go that day.
So Keith, of all, I mean, so pre-Fox Kids, what is your favorite incarnation of the Turtles and why?
All right. Well, I mean, the original incarnation. I mean,
So Mirage.
yeah. I got those books. They were magazine size. They're self-published. I have a very much a kinship to it myself as somebody who's been doing my own comics for years and years and years. The fact that these guys kind of just did their own thing. First issue was 3,000 copies. They got a loan from a family member to help them, fund it. It sold out within about 30 days, that first 3,000 copy print run. Went into a second and third printing and realized, wow, this is something I guess we should do something with. And then hence it kind of turned into what it became with the second issue and then the third and then the fourth. The fourth issue is the last issue that they did magazine size. Issue 5, they went to comic book size. Something that I just always found very gratifying that these guys said, you know what, we're going to do something really off the wall. Because after the first issue, they could have said, okay, we're going to do comic book size, so it fits better on the shelves and everything else. And it was so punk rock. They're like, screw you, we're going to do that. No, I want to do it this way. And just the fact that they kind of just did their own thing. And also, 84 to 88 Turtles was as punk rock as it could get for me in regards to comic books. It wasn't cool to like comic books in the early 80s. In high school, I wear superhero t-shirts and get shit. My high school existence was like a John Hughes movie, right down to the cliques and the cliches and football players beating the shit out of me and the whole fucking 9 years. But it was like, that was my thing. I loved comics and I loved the Ramones. I loved a lot of things that just weren't necessarily cool or hip like everybody else was into at the time. And I wore it like a badge. This was my thing. And Kevin Eastman would write, and draw in the backgrounds on the walls and the cities. You'd see like Metallica and all these bands that I dug at the time that he would put in as graffiti. Bands like Anthrax were doing, they did a song about Judge Dredd. And again, it wasn't hip to like comics in the mid 80s. This is before how things are now. If you wore a superhero t-shirt, you got it at a comic book store. You didn't get it at a Walmart, a Target, a Kohl's, et cetera, et cetera. That's where you got it. And, it was funny talking, my Jeff, my boss over at World's Greatest, he's like, I'd date a girl and I'd go over a couple of dates before I told them I read comic books. And then like, if you felt comfortable, you might kind of let them in. But that's how it was with the Turtles, is that they were like DIY rock and roll bands and everything else. They were going against the grain and they were taking all these things that inspired them and they just put it out there. It was, very much a DIY mentality that flourished and grew over the years. And it was something that I saw firsthand in the 90s as I progressed and did my own comics and even had my own shop and, watching bands themselves doing that same thing of, well, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to tell me that I'm good enough. I'm just going to do it and get it out there and, and watch as a community grows around you. Let's face it, who thought this would be a thing? And that's why I love the Turtles. It was such a nod to that DIY punk rock aspect of just doing it. I'm just going to get out there and do it and throw it out there, see what sticks, see what people says. And if they don't like it, well, if I like it, that's all that really matters. And like I said, they 4 issues, magazine size, with comic retailers bitching about the space it was going to take up on their shelves, and they didn't care. And then, eventually they went to comic size, mind you, but hell, 4 issues in, 40+ years worth of books, and Fugitoid, and the Raphael one-shot that was magazine-sized as well, which is the first appearance of Casey Jones. That's my Turtles. I always tell people it's kind of like I think issue 12 of the series when they really kind of started rolling in the money and gave the book to other people to do, and they stopped, collectively Eastman and Laird doing it is when I think it kind of lost a lot of that magic. I still loved it and I loved the product and still followed it, but that was the golden era. That's my era, Maroon bandanas, no red, no blue, no yellow, etc., etc. They killed people. They stabbed. They slashed. There wasn't fighting, just robots and whatnot. And
killed teenagers, bro.
Yeah, so it was
killed the reader base.
I was going to say, I did not know the first print was only 3,000 copies because shopping and looking and seeing auctions going on, I always see third print. Third print is pretty much what's prevalent out there, so it makes you think how many of those 3,000 are actually left in existence.
There's, I've seen enough of them in my time. I had one, mind you, and I sold it for $300 and something bucks years and years ago. But now they sell for thousands and thousands, especially if you get a CGC copy of it or whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'm the guy who I've owned every key Marvel book with the exception of Amazing Fantasy 15. Shut up. We've had this discussion.
We know where he lives.
At least
Keith.
once,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there's only 3,000, and it was a joke. Who thought it was gonna, like anything else? Who thought it was gonna be in anything? So, and it was something that was read, and I'm sitting there smoking pot and drinking beers, and isn't this cool? Like,
I imagine it might be like a little easier to get because it blew up. It blew up as quick as it did. Not easier, but more common than you think.
I was going to say, even third prints right now go for over 100.
I don't know.
I mean, I was like, oh, I don't want a third. I want that first print.
What I meant
Never
is
mind,
that
I can't afford the first print.
Yeah, what I meant is that it blew up so quickly
Yeah.
that people realized the rarity of it quicker than I don't know, Detective 27 or Action Comics
Yeah.
1 or
Yeah,
something.
they're out there, but like anything else, I think it's more a factor too of what
How many of
the
them
condition
are
will-
out there
yeah.
available for sale?
Right.
Well, you still find
There's
original Hulk.
3,000
like,
of them.
but you saw the first appearance of Hulk. It was in a 2 grade, and you still sold for
A lot of
thousands.
money.
Yeah.
I had a Hulk one, and it still sticks. 9/11 happened, and this dealer who'd been pestering me for that book and wanted a deal on it, I kept telling him to piss off. And then 2 days after 9/11, walked into my shop, and he was just like, I had to sell it. It was 9/11. Who knew the world was going to go? I had a kid, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's like anything else. Everything's for sale depending on the situation.
An Amazing Fantasy 15 just came up for sale. CGC graded
Stolen from his house.
2.5.
You better check.
No, this one's
I will hook myself before I sell that
a
book.
2.5 condition.
Yeah.
You can be a broke hooker.
$15,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You're right. Phil.
$15,000 for a 2.5, and even said in the title, one owner. So somebody jokingly said, "Hey, that one owner maybe should have took better care of this." And he was like, "Who would have thought it? A 10-year-old kid buying this? It would have been what it
Can you
would
do me a
have
favor? Don't tell me shit like that.
Because now he's thinking
Because now I'm just like,
been. $1,000.
I know where you live.
good because it's not there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in a safety deposit box. I know the code. We're good.
My
Century.
ex-wife didn't know where that was.
Well, good.
Keep it that way, right?
Right.
What comic?
Right.
If a
What
lawyer
comic
comes asking,
collection?
It's like it's a fucking it's a fake facsimile. Fuck off.
Right.
I photocopied it.
Yeah. Do you see what it says there in large print marker? 11th printing. 1997.
Why does it say Toy Biz? In
Right. Yeah. Why does it say wizard on it?
Yeah.
So do you still have a lot of your turtle books?
I sold 99% of my collection over the course of time. One of the things I do have, let's see.
Show and tell time.
Yeah, show and tell. Show and tell. All right.
Nudie magazine day.
You're going back to the zoo, penguin.
I sold my one ages ago and my two. There's a 3 over at World's Greatest Comics. That is mine. That's sitting in the case. That's for sale. This copy of 4, I kept. This is signed by Eastman and Laird. This was the last convention I saw them both at. And my brother was nice enough to take me out to Boston to a convention that they were at. So it was my brother and I. He was a super groovy guy. So it's sentimental, it kind of went, et cetera, et cetera.
The only thing that makes me cry on that is that it was $1.50.
Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy?
Comics to be $1.50 again.
Now this is something, it's not worth a ton, but it's really kind of neat. Before the action figures and movies and everything else, they... Yeah.
Wait.
Unclean.
Wait.
This is Palladium Games did GURPS and a whole bunch of
Yes, I
RPGs.
played
for us,
this.
okay?
Dice rolling, baby. Yeah, let's play a game right now over Zoom.
So they the Turtles, some of the first licensing they got was for RPGs and
Dude, as
for like
soon
the
as I saw
metal
that
miniatures and stuff. So they they signed it. Signing it.
You have a signed copy of the
Yes.
fucking tabletop RPG. I'm having a fucking Kevin McAllister moment.
Let's get this plugged in or something. And I conked it. But anyways, there you go. But the neat thing about this was that a lot of the art in this that was commissioned specifically. So if you're a Turtles fan and Turtles collector, one of the things I always tell people is this is one of the kind of like quiet collectibles that they don't realize. A lot of the stuff in here isn't anywhere else. So
I had it. I used it.
Yeah.
I rolled it. It's been gone.
But what the neatest thing is that also there's a Turtles story that was not in the comics. So like in here, there's actually a original Turtles comic that was in with the RPG. So yeah, it's really kind of cool. So like all the stuff in here, like here's some crazy, space beaver monster guy that Kevin Eastman, they're just like, here, draw this and draw that. And like,
Did you play this?
Oh yeah. heck
What
yeah.
did you make?
God, I can't remember.
I had a
So
rhino,
long
a
ago.
mutant rhino.
I think, if I remember right, I think mine was like a werewolf kind of thing. I think I was really stuck in my werewolf by
Dude,
night
I told you,
aspect.
I started with the cartoon, so I was like, I want to rock steady. Like, I want to be a mutant rhino.
All right.
So yeah,
you
if
might
you're
consider this unprofessional, but when we're done with the show, can we talk real quick about that book?
but if
I'm serious.
if you're a Turtles fan, that's one of those crazy things that you really need to kind of look at. Another thing is the first color Turtles.
We're showing everyone.
Oh, Grimjack.
That's
Yeah.
number 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a book called Grimjack, one of my favorite comic books of all time. And basis of this, there's a place called Munden's Bar where the main character Grimjack hung out. And Siniger, the city he hung out, was at the center of all realities. So any reality would touch this area. So like anybody would come in and out of this bar. So it was this crazy gag strip where anybody could be there. So the first color Turtles strip was in the backup of this Grimjack series at the Turtles in Munden's Bar. So it's kind of craziness.
I feel like we're in story time.
What year?
Like,
Yes.
What year was that, Brendan?
This was.
Just out of curiosity.
Was it
I've never even heard of Grimjack.
86?
86.
I was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah, and like Tim Truman, John Ostrander. After Tim Truman left the book, they had a couple of different other artists who were involved in it. But just an amazing series,
Yeah,
and
I
it
remember-
doesn't guide for anything.
Yeah.
If you find them, we've got some at World's Greatest Comics. I highly recommend it.
I think IDW printed some like a
Yeah.
decade ago. I think that's
Yeah.
the last time I saw
They
it.
did a brand new series. I actually own some of the original art from that. I was able to do. And here's where I get to pimp myself. And my okay, I do a comic called Rock and Roll Splendor, and in it I fight space monsters and aliens, and also I do some autobiographical stories and whatnot. But years ago, Nate Lovett, local artist, phenomenally talented individual, did some stuff in a book I did, Johnny Zombie. And in it, something I kind of carried over is that every single Elvis impersonator all across the world is actually part of a secret spy organization. So it's kind of like if everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. is an Elvis impersonator.
Makes sense.
And the scientists in their organization are Dr. Eastman and Dr. Laird. And we even draw them so they look just like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. My super geek moment, aside from meeting the Ramones as a kid, was a number of years ago at a con where I actually showed this to Kevin, and he was, as I was getting some other stuff signed, was so excited that he was showing everybody at his table, and then asked me to sign it to him.
Nice.
So I got to sign a
That's awesome.
a book from me to him, and that was kind of baffling. Like, he's like, "Will you sign it?" And I'm like,
yeah,
sure." It's like, "This is great. Hey, look at this. Hey, Elvis, and this great. This is great." So yeah, it was one of those times where you're just like, "Holy crap! Is this really happening?" And so that was my super uber geek moment when it came to that.
I would immediately have come. I'm just saying.
I almost did.
I'm just saying.
I mean, it was.
I'll sign it to you, and then you sign it and give it back.
It was sadly it was the only good part of the Wizard Chicago Con that I had gone to. I went there as a publisher, and when I showed up there after spending a shit ton of money, my table wasn't on the roster. It wasn't in the map. A whole bunch of us actually weren't there. So they had to juggle and try and give us a table somewhere. They wound up sticking us in a hall that led away from the dealer room towards the gaming area where Pokemon and all this stuff was. Ironically, I was next to a porn star. And seriously, and she had this giant poster with pasties over her boobs and everything else. And they weren't very accommodating. We had to have other people go to the front of the hallway and do with our comics, trying to, "Hey, come see us. There's artists down this way," et cetera, et cetera. So
sounds about accurate for Wizard.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a nightmare. Go all the way to Chicago for that. But that point of seeing Kevin and talking to him, I think that was probably the thing that kept my head level, because I was just like, wow, this is. That made my day, with all the shit that was happening.
Oh, absolutely.
And he took me behind his table, and he was like, "Here, sign this," and, "Hey, look at this," and we were talking. And then I mentioned I was from New Hampshire, and mentioned how I had seen them at cons when I was a kid, and where I was from in Manchester, and here I am. People are coming up asking him, and he's like, "Give me a moment. I'm talking to my friend Keith." And I was,
we're friends.
I mean, now he wouldn't know me from Adam, but it really it meant a lot. It was very, very, very cool.
That's very cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing, to say the least. So, and no, you can't have my Palladium book.
I mean, I don't want to have it, but I will make a fair and honest offer.
You can probably find it on eBay pretty reasonably.
It doesn't go very high. You search it out. So.
Oh, I mean, yours is signed, right?
Yes.
Yes,
mine
it is.
is signed.
That definitely increases the worth of the item, from what I understand from geek culture.
Yeah. Considering Eastman and Laird don't really interact very much anymore. There's a lot of hearsay and everything else, but it's getting their signatures now. It's kind of tough.
We'll talk after the show. We don't have to have it binding, it was on camera. Keith, you said
the second divorce wasn't that bad.
He's got to wait.
I'm just saying.
Phil has to wait for the boner to die before he can.
It's not going away, Tim. Sorry. Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
That's good.
Dude, it's been a while since we've got to talk turtles. We don't do it very often, man. We should we should just like say fuck it and like so talk turtles even off camera. I'm down. Let's just talk about turtles.
I'm just good.
Yeah, just-
What
What kind
saying,
of
like,
turtles? Snapping
turtles?
turtles?
turtles.
Sea turtles?
Trust me, after you watch the Oprah bit, you'll have a lot to talk about. right?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
Can we do let's
I
do
forgot
reaction.
that was the
Or you're
catalyst
just
of
speechless.
the awkwardness.
Well, yeah, there's the innuendo and then some word drops. And
Word
yeah,
drops.
it's
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm interested in ruining my childhood real quick. Why not? Fuck it.
Right.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going. Yeah.
Well, does anyone else have any questions for our good friend Keith Creedon?
Anybody? Bueller?
Bueller?
Can we all get
Forgiveness is
together
divine,
and
but
play
never pay
the
full price for
arcade
pizza.
game?
I still have
See
it.
that? Yes.
Or the hero clicks.
Or
I don't
I have
have-
here clips.
Hero
I was
clicks.
gonna say I
I
don't
have
have
the full set. I bought an entire gravity feed, or what do they got the little ones?
Yeah.
I bought a whole box of them. So I bought the entire box.
the whole box of gravity.
Yeah. So I got like a bunch of foot soldiers. I didn't get any chases. So I didn't get any. They actually made the chases with the black and white like versions, which I thought was
that's cool.
sweet.
My
'cause
son
your
got
son got
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Of
get
all
one.
people, my son got
Yeah,
one.
of course.
Yeah,
Everyone
the-
doesn't
yeah.
care.
But
And
yeah,
I was like, here, you don't want that. He's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I got all the every turtle, and then I got all the foot soldiers had like the different like weapons. So they have like a scythe one, they had Daibo one, they had nunchaku one.
Phil's got the-
they
the
came out with the actual van.
Yeah. The,
Um,
the only merch I have right now, like in my family, I've got all 4 of the turtles. Yeah, I've got mine out of the box though.
oh,
And then I've got it next to the turtle car that has the entire DVD set of the
Yeah.
original 80s.
Is that what the
cartoon.
Neko? Have you seen the Neko ones that look like the classic turtles? It looks just like the original first run Mirage stuff.
Yeah, they
They're
were like exclusive.
pricey as they're pricey as all get out, but they
'Cause
look
I
really
think they were.
cool.
I think they were a con exclusive.
Yeah, they've done statues of, but there's action figures. It's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say,
But,
a
they're
friend of ours
so-
has the statues where they're
Yeah.
standing on
Nah.
like a brick road and they all interlock.
They-
So you
yeah,
buy each
together.
individual one and interlock them.
yeah, I have all the Funko Pops. That's what I was pointing out over there.
Yeah.
I have all 4 turtles. I have Shredder, Splinter, and Casey Jones.
But do you have the WWE Macho Man Randy Savage Michelangelo?
I want. I
Do you know what I'm
want that.
I
talking
didn't know
about?
they made that.
Yeah, they did. I think Undertaker was Raphael, or Raphael was Undertaker.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a Macho Man fan, so I have
yeah,
I have the Mikey one, even
Yeah,
though it's not
yeah,
necessarily
I
my
do too.
favorite turtle, but
I do
Mach
too.
is Mach. So
Right, yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I don't have those. No.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
had no limit
yeah.
with this licensing.
Oh,
they were
yeah.
like,
Ultimate
just
Warrior.
make it.
I was wearing a
Yeah.
Macho Man T-shirt yesterday.
Well, I have to look for those now.
Yeah, they did. There's 2 lines. I know, like Raphael was Sting in one. I think
I forget all the different ones, but yeah.
Turtles and WWE sold.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Like Leonardo or
was John
Donatello was
Cena.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
They haven't done. If they did Michelangelo as Ric Flair,
John Cena.
I would fight people for that.
Well, I was thinking Michelangelo as
They did Leonardo as John Cena.
as Mankind. I think Michelangelo's Mankind would be
I
kind
don't
of
know.
fun.
If I'm trying to because they've only done 2.
Right.
2 sets
runs
of
of it.
4, and I can't.
Because Mankind as Michelangelo would be kind of a fun
I mean, that would be
X-Pac.
kind of funny. Yeah.
Xbox.
Oh Jesus!
Super Shredder can be fucking Triple H.
It's already Kevin
That's
Nash.
yeah.
dorks.
That's true.
Man, no. But again, I mean, nobody else has anything. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
No problem.
I mean, it's
no
been-
problem. Glad to babble
you're-
and et
You're
cetera,
our
et
only
cetera.
repeat guest, I believe. Thank you for
I'll
coming
be
back.
on. I'll be on.
Not
There's
counting ourselves.
plenty of other stuff to babble about. So
Oh,
yeah.
we'll always dabble turtles and anything else we can get into.
I mean, I'm Amazon Ninja Turtles WWE.
Yeah.
So because
Well,
like
Artist Wrestling League is the thing you got to look up next.
Yeah, I know,
Trust me.
right?
Yeah.
oh yeah, I heard your
Stu
story.
the View will
So Phil,
definitely
you
give
missed
you.
this. So
Oh, did I?
Keith talked about when he walked in, Artist Wrestling League.
Yeah, my guitar player Jordan, he's part of this thing called the Artist Wrestling League, and it's take wrestling. You get characters, et cetera, et cetera. His character is Stu the View. He's not a wrestler. He's a commentator, but like literally, they go in a ring and they like paint. Like they literally legitimately paint, and they're like
They
choose a
have, like,
topic,
a
like
fucking
Universal
little
Monsters.
trees fight?
So you get these 2 guys in a ring, but while they're trying to paint, people are coming in and trying to like flying elbow them and knock them out and take them out while they're trying to paint these pictures. I guess.
I
And
Yeah.
they do promo bits, and it's It's called the
Tell me
Artist
they
Wrestling
Bob
League.
Ross
It's a
and
thing,
WWE,
and
baby. Like, that's-
yeah, I guess it's been really building and building over the past
I dig it.
year or two.
I mean,
And,
I love wrestling. So.
So
Does your
So, yeah,
Mona
my-
Lisa like poontang pie?
yeah,
that was aggressive, Rocky Maivia.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Joey 74, the band I'm in with Jordan, we might play like an opening to it and be a part of it. But I've seen some video of it, and I talk ultimate dorkdom from Turtles to wrestling.
Hey,
Yeah,
but
the
it's all-
Artist
we do too.
Wrestling League. There you go, Jordan, Ben Ergel. I'm giving you guys the shout out. So there you go.
I think we have a podcast about it. I think we talk geek stuff.
In
I don't-
In
I
fact,
don't-
if you want, maybe I'll talk to Jordan and Ben. You guys look it up if you guys want to do a podcast
Oh,
about
absolutely.
about
Fuck it,
wrestling
let's
and then the
live stream
Artist
for the
Wrestling
show.
League. I can maybe get those guys on.
and like live stream it.
I'll talk to
rank-
Jordan.
The Ranklin up in Franklinton.
There you go.
Fucking in.
This might be this might be a reason for me to come to town. And
There we go.
We'll live stream from the show. Yeah, fuck yeah, we'll make it happen. So Keith, before we end up for the night, plug yourself. Plug, go.
Plug
Yeah,
myself?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got your band.
not in that.
I was gonna say in front of all y'all. I don't want to
Hey,
show
but
you up.
we paid
Hold on,
good
I gotta
money.
leave.
All right, long-
We paid good money for this show.
All right. My band Joey 74, which is primarily do Ramones covers and whatnot. We're going to be playing in Indianapolis for Joey Ramone Bash. So if you kind of look up that stuff, World's Greatest Comics, you can always find me there. That's where I work. So you can give you stuff. The next issue of Rock and Roll Splendor will be out within about a month and a half. So that's another big thing coming through there. And also in August, the second Songs for Sarah Autism Benefit Show. It's going to be happening at Kings Avenue 5. Keep your eyes peeled for that, for the announcement of all the other bands. We just had a huge benefit show last week, which was amazing. So yeah, between rock and roll and comic books and hanging out with this crazy guy and talking to you crazy folks and everything else, it's definitely a busy life. But keep your eyes peeled. I'll be out there, stinking up the works with a whole bunch of nonsense that I'll be begging you money for.
Hey,
There you go.
I'll bet you're clapping. You're making it rain.
Why'd you make
Yeah.
the fap noise when you were making it rain, Tim?
Yeah.
You don't make a tap noise when you make
Wait,
it rain?
you do the
'Cause I
same.
do.
You do the same. You do both same time with the money like on.
My wad of cash is too thick, son. It just sounds like feathers falling from the sky, like little snowflakes of 20s.
Feathers make a sound. From the sky.
Thanks for tuning in to Hateful Geeks. I'm Phil, one of your many hosts.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
And with us again this week was Keith Creedon. Say bye
Thanks
to
for
nice
having
people.
me. Take these peoples.
Years and a half shell.
Go play in some
Turtle
music.
Power.
Yeah. We're gonna.
Joe playing some mutant slime.
All right, cool. See ya. And scene.